Cafe Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1809, 1809. I'm your host, Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway on Mike's Daily Podcast. And I'm doing it from Podcast Travel Valley 10, and it is not a clear day at all. It's rainy, and all that water does fall on everyone walking around trying to enjoy their weekend. The water is falling down, and it is not my friend, because I'm starting to get into that reflective rain mode. Mike's Daily Podcast. Where you look outside and it doesn't look nice, and you're a Californian and you're spoiled and you're going, wham. Mike's I want Daily clear skies, podcast, and sunshine so I can do stuff. Yeah! But there was a time I liked the rain. I liked to walk my dog in the rain. At one point, my dog enjoyed walking in the rain. Now he can't stand it. Now he hates it. Well, now he doesn't really walk much. But when he does go out in the rain, he's kind of like, let's go back inside. Done. But back in the day, he wanted to walk. He wanted to be out there. So we would go, and I would I'd bring an umbrella, and he would just get wet. He loved the water falling on him. And then he'd get this little bath in the process. But I bring up the dog, as I often do, Basil the Boxer, because I am looking at harnesses for him, because his back legs, he's got the myelopathy, the hip dysplasia, the arthritis, the whatever. But he just basically can't get up very well. His front legs are fine, the back ones are bad. So getting a harness for the back is the plan. And I just found one for like $12, but we'll see. I don't know if that's the best quality. I want one that is actually not going to cause any rash or cause him any discomfort, because it's going to be holding his weight, so it's got to be comfortable for him. So that's what I'm doing on this rainy Saturday.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Let's find that real quick, the podcast picture here at Cafe Anyway. But I'm also thinking about acceptance, about how sometimes, I don't know if you ever woken up at a time in the morning, say you were going to sleep in, and suddenly you wake up and you're thinking about your life and about stuff going on, and there's a part of your brain that is processing everything and trying to accept everything, is trying to go, oh, okay, that happened yesterday. I bring this up because in my life, I've had jobs that required a lot, that had a lot of people come and go in a short amount of time. Oh, Basil, there he is. He's happy. He has to throw his 10 cents in and say those words. But there are some jobs that don't necessarily require... Okay, here's how I will put this. Some jobs have a lot of distractions going on constantly. So much happening at once. Hey, Mike, can you answer this question? Hey, Mike, can you answer that question? You know, a lot of people throwing stuff at you. A lot of people, for the most part, that can't think for themselves throwing stuff at you, but that's all right. That's 90% of the Earth's population can't think for themselves. I don't know why that is. It just seems to happen that way. I don't know. I know you can think for yourself, and you decided to get this podcast into your ear hole, and I want to thank you for that. But yeah, so a lot of people coming out, Mike this, Mike that, Mike, you know, and instead of, oh, maybe I can figure this out for myself. Oh, what a concept. Oh, that's amazing. Think for yourself? What? That's a thing? You can do that? Yes. You can walk upright? Yes. You can... I was going to do a show about faith and about... Oh, here's what I wanted to talk about. Well, I'll get to the acceptance thing in a moment. Let's go to another A word. Assume. Assume. Okay. You hear people go, well, I assume blah, blah, blah. And then the retort is, well, you know what assume is? And then that expression has to do with ASSUME. It's ridiculous and dumb. And here's what it is. If you don't know the expression, ask the person next to you. They'll tell it to you. I don't want to justify it by saying it here on my podcast. It is ridiculous to bring that up, because when people say that, they're basically knocking assuming. Assuming is a good thing. We do it a lot, you and me. We assume there is oxygen around our heads so we can breathe. We assume when we're taking a step, when we're walking, and we throw that one leg in front of us, that we assume it's going to catch our fall, because we literally fall as we walk. We're falling. We fall onto each foot. The right foot catches us, the left foot catches us, and thus we walk or we run. And we assume that the idiot driving next to us, driving down 580, isn't going to ram into us. We assume the idiots that as we drive through an intersection, that the people stopped on going the other direction are going to remain stopped. We assume so many things. And that's okay. If we didn't assume and we didn't trust anything, we would be freaking out and stuck in our little caves and shaking and shivering and cold and in the dark. My point is, don't knock assuming, and don't ever say that expression to me, the one that I won't justify by saying, because there is actually, you're more of an ass if you don't assume, is what I'm saying. And so there is, I think we have to be there. We've got to be given the benefit of the doubt with what we know, we've been through, we've seen. If you put the foot in front of yourself and the next foot in front of yourself, that you will be able to walk. We assume these things. Now, until the point where you've hurt yourself and you've got to relearn this and get back into that assuming frame of mind. But at any point, like my dog can't assume anymore that he can, although all of a sudden he will. It's bizarre, because I've taken him out to green grass areas where he doesn't mind falling because it's soft. And after a while, he begins to assume again, and he can actually start to walk a little bit. So that's my first word I wanted to talk about, assume. And then the second was accept, because there's a lot of stuff in this world that we don't accept, that we push away. And it seems like, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast. I'm on Podcast Valley ton today. That once we do accept things, we can move on and go forward. I have to accept the fact that I have to pay my taxes in about almost a month. And I don't like that, but year after year, and for so far, I'm 50 now, a big chunk of my life has been paying taxes. So I assume that I will be paying tax, and I accept that as well. I'm in such a rainy day reflection outside of here cafe anyway, where I have my umbrella and a couple umbrella LA and a couple people here. Yes, I did do a little Rihanna, and you can accept that or not. But look who's here. Hello, Michael Masu, it's Madame Rootabega. It is true, Michael Masu. I accept that you are going to be rambling a little bit more today. Ooh. Just a little bit, not much more. Hey, something I like to do on Saturdays is there are two quintessential, not the best TV shows, but they were popular at any rate. So popular, in fact, they still play them. One TV show was popular in the early 70s, and my father actually worked on. He was an extra and actually a stand-in for Rock Hudson. I'm talking about McMillan and Wife. For the first 3 years, my dad was a stand-in for Rock Hudson. And what stand-ins do is when they are getting, back in the day, I don't know how much they do this now, because it's so easy to set up shots, because cameras are so adjustable. They can adjust to just about any light now. But back in the day, you had to have the light a specific way, because cameras were a lot less high-tech. And so you had to, adjust this and that and get it all set. So instead of having Rock Hudson sit there at the chair in the office or whatever he's doing, they'd have my dad do it. And they'd set the light and everything and go, okay, so we more or less get the idea of what it's going to... Now, did my dad look like Rock Hudson? No. My dad did have a mustache for a while like Rock Hudson does on McMillan and Wife. Some people call that a porn star mustache. I don't know why all of a sudden that became a thing. Well, we know why that became a thing. But, I mean, there are a lot of other people that had cool mustaches. Maybe a Tom Selleck mustache. You don't have to call it a porn star mustache. Anyway, I digress. So why do I like watching that show? Well, first off, sometimes I catch a glimpse of my dad. Because every once in a while, the guy who was directing the show would throw my dad in the background, kind of like an Alfred Hitchcock thing. And just sort of, okay, Paul, go ahead and walk around in the background. And so I've seen my dad. Actually, he's in the first episode. He walks in the background behind Rock and somebody else. And he goes and he's got a briefcase in his hand and he shakes someone's hand down the hallway. And I went, whoa, there's my dad. That's awesome. The second thing that I like to watch, and my dad never worked on this show. He had retired from the whole movie industry, I think, by this point. Monk, the show Monk with Tony Shalhoub. And that show also has to do with San Francisco. Oh, did I mention McMillan and Wife takes place in San Francisco? So you get to see San Francisco in the 70s. Oh, and I think my dad also worked on Streets of San Francisco with Carl Malden and Michael Douglas. Thank you. So but the other show, Monk, also takes place in San Francisco. And so it's fun to watch both of those shows. Monk was done, I think, about, 15 years ago? So a little bit more recent a show. My point is, I don't know what that's my Saturday activity sometimes when it's raining and the weather's crap. But look who else is here.
Hello, Dave, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Uh-huh. You're not going to crash a car today? No. Okay, maybe a little bit. All right. Drive safely in the rain is what I should say. Oh, there was just so much going on yesterday. So many things. So many layers of, all right, that happened and that happened and that happened. And you just have to accept it and process it. And I think in some ways you become a better person, a stronger person when you accept certain things. I accepted at some point that I am bald. And when I did that, life was easy. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to spend money on combs, on shampoo, on conditioner, on barbers, on hair dryers. Bam! What an easier life. And you know who's a good-looking bald man, or at least he was in this one episode of Monk that I was watching. The guy. Oh, wow. I just totally blanked on his name. St. Elsewhere. Howie Mandel. Thank you. Howie Mandel. Okay, St. Elsewhere, Howie Mandel had this really nice head of hair. Big fro going on. Older he got, the more he lost his hair. Now he shaves it, and he looks great. I don't know how he looks now, but as of 15 years ago, he looked good. So sometimes the bald head is good. Sometimes accepting things as they are good. Now, don't accept the bad things that are bad for your health. In other words, do not accept, I'm fat, so I'll just keep on eating all those fattening things that I love, so much, and drinking soda, and No, that you should say no to. I guess my point is you shouldn't accept those. Sometimes you have to accept that you're fat and you need to change. And sometimes you have to, so basically maybe that's for the next show, is accepting you have to change. Accepting that you can't accept it anymore. Thoughts? 336MM Daily. That's 336MM Daily. Or you can email me, MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. Check out the website, MikesDailyPodcast.com, where you can see all the fabulous podcast pictures that I have taken. But today is not a podcast picture as the de rigueur of a scenery of water and whatnot. In fact, I think the last podcast picture I had was Santa Cruz from 6 years ago. Then I had Benicia, which was from a year ago. So you can see those pictures at MikesDailyPodcast.com. And then there was another picture from Santa Cruz that I took actually just a few weeks ago during my lovely lady friend's birthday. Wasn't she great on the show? Yeah. And then another picture from Natural Bridges, only that was taken just a few weeks ago. So yeah, we'll try and get lovely lady friend back on the show. But for right now, the podcast picture is a drawing, and it's of this guy. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. How have you enjoyed today's show? It's all right. I don't like the rain out here. You should have gotten an umbrella and accepted the fact. You should have accepted the fact that it's raining. Yeah, I'll never do that. Uh-huh. Some people never accept that it's the year 2019. You got to accept that and move on with the... I can't accept... First off, real quick, the Academy Awards, okay? I did not watch them. I hear something like the guy who was in the Queen movie, he got Best Actor. Good. I've seen some clips of what he did, and it looked pretty good. The lady that won Best Supporting Actor or Best Actor used to be on a British TV show, Peep Show. And I can't accept the fact that she got an Academy Award for whatever movie she was in. I'm just going to think in my head that she got an Academy Award for Peep Show because she was so good on that British comedy where it was done like you were seeing from the point of view of the person talking the whole TV show. It's bizarre. It used to be on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore. Okay. Let's accept that and move on and go. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. You're coming back, Floyd. Oh, great. I don't accept that. Fine.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.